Hello gamers, welcome to Dawntrail. Today we're going to talk about the new S-rank notorious monsters added to the game in 7.0. These are mobs that can be spawned once every few days per instance of a zone, when certain conditions are met, and upon defeating them players get a nice amount of rewards, including tomestones, nuts, and materia clusters. To date, 4 of the 6 zones have had their S-rank enemies added to the game, in addition to the double S-rank that has a chance to become spawnable when an S-rank is defeated. The majority of attacks from these bosses will one-shot players, dealing in excess of 300,000 damage, so let's talk about how to avoid the horde of corpses upon the ground waiting for a precious res. Let's rip the bandage off and start with the absolute worst of the worst. Meet Atticus the Primogenitor, who has a chance of spawning when players craft a high-quality Ranique stake in the Heritage Found region if its window is open. Atticus has 3 heads, each with their own distinct cleave. The center head cleaves forward 120 degrees, while the left head cleaves the back left, and the right head cleaves the back right. This is pretty much his entire deal, and while that's not too bad, you may be familiar with something called nail quotes that every player hates. That's sort of what's going on here, only it's worse, because the telegraphs for the order these heads will cleave is indicated by these text bubbles, making them incredibly easy to miss. After 3 chat bubbles appear, 1 for each head, they will cleave in the order they spoke at the end of the breath sequence cast. One important thing to notice is that each head will cleave once for every 3 breaths. I know you're thinking this seems pretty easy, and honestly it really isn't too bad, but we aren't finished yet. Atticus will cast Intimidation to deal raid-wide damage, followed by Brutality, giving himself a haste buff. The telegraphs will come out much faster this time, followed by another breath sequence cast. At this point the encounter truly begins, and Atticus begins telegraphing 6 cleaves at a time, so you had better pay attention. The easiest way to avoid getting mixed up here is to stay behind Atticus and only track the left and right heads. The front cleave will always be irrelevant to you, and you can just adjust as needed to dodge the outer cleaves. Atticus also casts a stack called Pyric Blast, but will mostly just spam sequences of 6 cleaves until it is defeated. Next up is Neyoozoteel of Yoctale, who has a chance to spawn when a stack of 50 or more fish meal are discarded by a player in the zone. Noxious Sap is a 120 degree frontal cleave. Whirling Omen will give the boss 3 buffs at the end of the cast with directions indicated on them. The boss will then cast Sap Spiller before turning and facing the direction of the leftmost buff to cleave it with a 90 degree Noxious Sap, before moving on to the middle and then rightmost buffs. However, the trick is that it will turn relative to where it is facing. In this example, the buffs are right, left, and backward, so the boss will turn to the right 90 degrees and cleave its right, then turn left 90 degrees and cleave where it was facing during the initial cast, and then turn around 180 degrees to cleave behind itself. The cleaves only extend so far, so a popular strategy, especially while learning, is to simply run away during Sap Spiller to outrange the breaths and come back in after they resolve. Neurotoxify will afflict randomly chosen players with delayed neurotoxicity, locking them in place with down for the count during the next Sap Spiller. Coco Pult is a stack AoE that should be resolved beside the boss, as it inflicts heavy and is immediately followed by a Noxious Sap cleave. Ravaging Roots is a rotating cross AoE. The rotations are equidistant, so as long as you rotate into a spot that was just struck, you don't have to worry about getting hit, and can just alternate back and forth. Sansheya can be spawned in Sha Lawani by completing the You Are What You Drink fate. He will start by showing his 2 main mechanics in a random order, with Halo of Heat being a donut AoE, and Veil of Heat being a point-blank circle AoE. Fire's Domain will give a player a red marker above their head and target them with a stretching column AoE. There's no need to stretch this, so just sit tight and let others adjust out of it. At the end of the cast, Sansheya will dash to this player and boop them. Sansheya will next show its other major mechanic, cleaving either left followed by right, or vice versa, telegraphed by where its sword is held. Pyre of Rebirth will afflict players with boiling, inflicting pyretic upon them at the end of its duration. Sansheya will reposition once again with a cast of Fire's Domain, before casting Twin Scorched Halo or Twin Scorched Veil. As you may have surmised, this will be 2 cleaves followed by in or out, with the latter portion being telegraphed by the cast name. 2 seconds after the second cleave resolves, boiling players will receive Pyretic, so be mindful of this in position immediately. Pyretic will very quickly melt anyone moving, executing actions, or just auto-attacking, so respect Stonus or suffer Alexander's wrath. Captive Bolt is a stack AoE, and Culling Blade is a raid-wide. The Forecaster has a chance to spawn in living memory when players cast the Blue Mage spell Northerlies on its spawn point. It will begin by showing its 4 weather attacks: a donut for wildfire or sunshine, a point-blank circle for electricity, a large frontal column for wind, and a cross for ice. After showing these off, a forecast will be issued and Forecaster will give a series of weather events, indicating the order mechanics will resolve. If players both stay behind Forecaster and remain at an intercardinal relative to him, they never have to think about wind or ice. At the end of the Weather Channel cast, the weather effects will resolve in order. On its next forecast, it will cast Climate Change, revising one of the forecast weather effects to another, in this case swapping the Sunshine Donut for an Electric Out, making the resolve order Out, Behind, Out. Flood Conditions is a small targeted circle AoE. Our final S rank is in fact the SS rank. Upon defeating an S rank, if its window is open, there is a chance for minions to spawn, indicated by a region-wide message remarking that extraordinary minions are on the hunt for prey. Multiple Crystal Incarnation mobs will appear around the map. Do not engage these alone, as if any of them reset, they will dematerialize and the SS spawn opportunity will be lost. The Crystal Incarnation minions cast Blizzard 2, an untelegraphed conal AoE, and Fire 2, a circle AoE. Once all of the minions are defeated, a region-wide message will play letting players know they sense a powerful mark, and the SS will spawn in a fixed position. Aethereater begins with Thermodynamics, inflicting players at random with boiling and cold sweats. After 15 seconds, they will be afflicted with Pyretic and Freezing Up respectively. Pyretic will kill you if you take any actions, while Freezing Up will disable you for a short period of time. Fire 4 is a point-blank circle AoE, while Blizzard 4 is a donut AoE. Dodge accordingly while minding any freeze or pyretic you may need to resolve. Soulless Stream will have one of Aethereater's wings glow with ether, indicating that that side will be cleaved, followed by that elemental aspect, in this case ice. This will be followed by the opposite wing casting its cleave and aspect, just as a round of thermodynamics are resolving, so position accordingly to dodge the mechanics and resolve your pyretic or freeze. Obliterate is a shared stack AoE, and Meltdown is an untelegraphed frontal column AoE. Now that we've covered everything, it's time for you to get out there and get those easy tomestones. In a few days, because right now, they're all dead. If you want notifications about hunts on your data center, I highly recommend Faloop.app, link in the description. Thanks for checking out my video. I plan to have more guides up in the near future, so please look forward to those. And if you'd like to see anything in particular from me, please let me know in the comments down below. Speaking of comments, please help a brother out with the algorithm stuff. Like, subscribe, share, and so on. I truly hope you are enjoying Dawntrail as much as I've been, and now I've gotta go, because right now I'm working on this instead of playing Dawntrail. See you soon, gamers.